students, today I am here to share some interesting facts about coordinate geometry. What is coordinate geometry? Is it has any other name? Yes, of course, we can even call that coordinate geometry as analytical geometry. Then who introduced this coordinate geometry? So let us explore on these facts by starting observing this animation. Children, let us observe this animation. Here, he is Rakesh and he wants to know the distance covered by him while jumping from this point to this point. Is it possible for us to count or to measure the distance covered by this Rakesh while moving from this point to this point? If it is a shorter distance, it is very easy for us by taking a tape or by taking some scale and all that, we can measure the distance. Whereas, if we want to measure long distances, even to measure shorter distances also, we need a fixed point. That fixed point is known as a reference point. So, let us consider this point as our fixed point and the line which can be drawn from this fixed point. Let us call this line as a reference line. Now, it is very easy for us to measure the distance covered by Rakesh. So, this is the reference point for us. So, let us mark 0 here. From this, now we can say that Rakesh has covered a distance of 6 units. Suppose if we want to know the height attained by Rakesh while jumping, then this reference line and this reference point are not sufficient for us to measure the height. What do we want? Yes, of course, we need one more reference line with respect to this reference point or fixed point. So, let us consider one more reference line which can be drawn perpendicularly and which is passing through this reference point. Once again, let us calibrate this vertical line with equal intervals like 1, 2, 3, 4 and all. Now, it will be very easy for us to measure the height covered by Rakesh. So, this type of measuring or trying to find out the location of a particular point is possible then when we can consider the object with respect to a fixed point or reference point and two reference lines. Then what are these two reference lines called? These two reference lines are known as coordinate axes. So let us learn more about these coordinate axes. The fixed point or the reference point is known as origin. So let us mark a point here and write O. And the line which is passing through this reference point is known as x-axis. And this is x dash x axis and this is y dash y axis which can be drawn perpendicular to this horizontal line which is called x-axis. And this is known as y dash OY. Now, let us find out what is the positive direction of x-axis. The region that starts from 0 to, or you can say O to x, is known as the positive direction of x-axis. So, we need to calibrate the positive direction of x-axis with integers 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. Even we can calibrate -1, -2, -3 and so on, and then negative direction of x-axis that is on the left hand side of 0. Similarly, we can mark 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on, all positive numbers above the 0 and the vertical line which is nothing but y-axis. All negative numbers like -1, -2, -3 and so on can be calibrated below the 0 on y-axis. This is how we can construct or we can write coordinate axis. Now, let us observe this butterfly. This butterfly wants to know the position of its wings. Is it possible for us to explain the position of this butterfly's wings? Of course, it is possible. But to explain or to locate the position of this butterfly's wings, we need to take the help of coordinate axis. So let us take the help of coordinate axis. For that, we need a graph sheet. So this is the graph sheet, children. So on this graph sheet, we need to draw two perpendicular lines which can be intersecting at the reference point called 0. So this is the x-axis which can be drawn horizontally, and the y-axis is drawn perpendicular to this x-axis. Now the position of an object in a plane is determined with the help of these two reference points or an ordered pair which can be taken from these two reference lines. So we can say that these coordinate axes also dividing this entire plane into 4 quadrants. This is the first quadrant, and this is the second quadrant, and this is the third quadrant, this is the fourth quadrant. With the help of these, we can say that this wing is at first quadrant, and this wing is at second quadrant, and this wing is at third quadrant, and this wing is at fourth quadrant. Okay, now we are given arrange and identify the positions of objects with respect to a fixed point. We are given some objects, and now we need to identify the position of all these objects. To identify the position of these objects, once again we need a fixed point or a reference point, and we should take the help of coordinate axis. So let us take a coordinate axis or a grid line. Now we can draw x and y axis which are perpendicular to each other. Also, we can say that these coordinate axes are dividing the entire plane into 4 quadrants, q1, q2, q3 as well as q4. Also, we learnt how to calibrate these coordinate axes. So let us mark 0 at the reference point, and 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on, all positive numbers to the right side of the 0, and -1, -2, -3 all negative numbers to the left side of the 0. Similarly, we can calibrate positive y-axis as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Similarly, we can mark -1, -2, -3 and so on, all negative numbers below the 0 on the y-axis. Now with the help of these, it is very easy for us to locate, to identify the position of these objects. So let us start with this football. If we observe this football, we can say that the football is at 3, 2. How we are able to tell or identify the position of this football? By taking the help of an ordered pair which consists of 2 numbers, in which the first number tells us about the x coordinate and the second number gives us the knowledge regarding y coordinate. So with the help of x and y coordinates, now we are able to explain or identify the position of this football. Similarly, we can say that the car is in second quadrant and it is situated at -4, 2. Also, we can say that the mango is in the third quadrant and the position of the mango can be explained with the help of the ordered pair -3, -3. Now, with the help of these coordinate axes, even we can explain or identify the location of this book with the help of the ordered pair 5, -4. Also, we can say that this book is in the fourth quadrant. Okay, with the help of these coordinate axes, we are able to explain or identify the position of these objects. Then what about the position or location of this cup as well as this balloon and this parachute? To identify the position of this cup, once again we need to take the help of ordered pair. So if I consider the ordered pair of this cup or the point where this cup is located, we can say that it is situated at 0, 4. And observing this ordered pair, we can say that the x coordinate is 0. Basing on that, we can say that on entire y axis, we can find the x coordinate value, or the x coordinate will be always 0. Similarly, let us consider this balloon. And this balloon is at origin. Therefore, we can write the ordered pair as 0, 0. And let us consider this parachute. Again, if we write the ordered pair of this parachute, we can find the y coordinate as 0. From this, we can say that the y coordinate on x-axis always be equal to 0. This is how we can locate the position, or we can identify the position of a particular object with the help of a coordinate axis. Now, this is the graph sheet, and which is calibrated with the positive as well as negative numbers. With the help of this graph sheet, now try to analyze the nature of a ordered pair. If we consider an ordered pair which is present in the first quadrant, we can say that it is always plus and plus. That is, both x and y coordinates of the ordered pair which is present in the first quadrant always consists of positive numbers only. When it comes to the question of the second quadrant, the ordered pair that is present in the second quadrant consists of its x coordinate as a negative number and y coordinate will be a positive number. In case of a third quadrant, we can find both x and y coordinates as negative numbers only. In case of fourth quadrant, we can find x coordinate as a positive number and y coordinate as a negative number. So with the help of this knowledge, let us try to mark -2, -1 on this graph sheet. If we observe this point -2, -1, we can say that -2, which is an x coordinate, -1 tells us about y coordinate. -2, -1. On observing this, we can say that this ordered pair lies in the third quadrant. So, this is how we can mark -2, -1, which is in the third quadrant. This is the location of the ordered pair -2, -1. Now, let us mark 2, 1. So, if we mark 2, 1, we can find the location or position of ordered pair 2, 1 here in the first quadrant. On observing this ordered pair, we can find the first number as an x coordinate and the second one as y coordinate. And these x and y coordinates have their specific names. We can even call x coordinate as abscissa and y coordinate can be called as ordinate. Now let us mark -2, 1. On observing this ordered pair, we can say that the x coordinate is a negative number and y coordinate is a positive number. So we can find such ordered pairs in the second quadrant. Taking -2 from x-axis and 1 from y-axis, we can find the position of -2, 1 here. Similarly, we can mark 2, -1. In the fourth quadrant, taking 2 from x-axis and -1 from y-axis, we can mark 2, -1 here. This is how we can mark ordered pairs in a coordinate system. Children, until now we learned how to mark a point on coordinate axis. Suppose if you are able to mark 2 points on the coordinate axis which are parallel to x-axis or which may be parallel to y-axis, then is it possible for us to find the distance between those 2 points? Let us see how we are able to mark all these 2 points on x-axis which are parallel to x-axis and which are parallel to y-axis. If we are able to mark these 2 points parallel to x-axis or parallel to y-axis, then how do we find the distance between those 2 points? For that, let us consider a coordinate axis with x and y coordinates, and the intersection of these coordinate points, the coordinate axis is given by the origin and it is marked as 0. Now let us mark 2 points minus 6, 4 and 1, 4. And joining these 2 points, we will get a line segment. Again, if we observe these 2 points, we can find the y coordinates of these 2 points are same. Also, we can find the line parallel to x-axis. Now, it is very easy to find the distance between these 2 points. Simply, we can subtract the x coordinates of these 2 points from one x coordinate from the other one. And doing so, we can find the distance between these 2 points minus 6, 4 and 1, 4 as 7 units. That is, we can say that these 2 points minus 6, 4 and 1, 4 are separated by a distance of 7 units. Now let us see how we can find the distance between 2 points when they are marked parallel to y-axis. For that, let us consider once again a coordinate system and 2 points which can be marked parallel to y-axis. Minus 3, 2 is the first point and minus 3, 2 is the second point. And joining these 2 points, we will get a line segment which is parallel to y-axis. Also, we can find the x coordinates of these 2 points are same. Therefore, we can find the length of this line segment AB is nothing but the difference between the y coordinates of these 2 points. That is, we can write length of AB is equal to modulus of 2 minus of minus 2, because we have here this point is given as minus 2. This is minus 2 for us. So, minus and minus will become plus. Thereby, we can write length of AB as 4, or we can say length of AB is equal to 4 units. In general, we can say that the length of any line segment which is parallel to y-axis is obtained by the formula modulus of y2 minus y1. Until now, we learned how to find distance between 2 points or the length of a line segment which is parallel to x-axis, also which is parallel to y-axis. Suppose if the line is parallel to neither x-axis nor y-axis, then how do we find the distance between those 2 points or a length of that line segment or straight line? For that, let us consider once again, let us take a graph sheet on which the coordinate axes are marked. These are the x and y axes drawn perpendicularly to each other, and this is the intersecting point which is marked as 0, and this is a point with x1, y1 as its coordinates, and q, x2, y2 is another point for us. And joining these 2 points, we get a line segment which is neither parallel to x-axis nor parallel to y-axis. So in such case, how do we find the distance between these 2 points or a length of the line segment? To find the length of the line segment, let us construct a right angle triangle. Now, from this we can say that PNQ is a right angle triangle, and we can find the right angle at N. Let us use the Pythagorean theorem, that is PQ square is equal to PN square plus QN square. Let us find out PQ square, what is PN square and what is QN square. So from this we can find out what is PQ, what is PN and what is QN. Let us draw perpendiculars QN and P like this. Draw perpendiculars here, and the distance between these 2 points O and this point is x1, and this distance is y1, and this distance is y2. The difference between these two lines are parallel to y-axis. Therefore, we can find the distance between these 2 points as x2 minus x1. Similarly, we can write the distance between these 2 points as y2 minus y1. Now we know what is Pn and what is Qn. And substituting the values of Pn and Qn in this, we can write Pq square is equal to x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. But we want Pq. So to obtain PQ, or the length of the line segment PQ, we need to take the square root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square, which is known as the distance formula. So by using this formula, we can find the distance between any two points where the first point is given by P of x1, y1 and the second point Q is given by x2, y2. If we know any 2 points, then by using this formula, PQ is equal to under root x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square, we can find the distance between those 2 points P and Q. Now let us see one example. Find the area of the circle. Here we are given a circle, we need to find its area. On observing the circle, we can say that the center of the circle is equal to 4, 4. Also we know area of circle is obtained by using the formula pi r square. To find out the area of this circle, we need radius of the circle. So from this picture diagram, we can find the radius of the circle. What is radius of the circle? It is the distance between the center of the circle and any point of the circle are located on the circumference of the circle. So by taking that, we can find the radius of the circle as 4 units, and substituting the value of r in pi r square, we get area as 22 by 7 multiplied with 4 into 4. And simplifying, we can find the area of circle as 176 by 7 square units. This is how we can find the area of the circle without using the distance formula and by using coordinate axis. Let us see one more. A player kicks soccer ball that is 10 yards from a sideline and 5 yards from a goal line. The ball lands 45 yards from the same goal line and 40 yards from the same sideline. How far was the ball kicked? We need to know the distance covered by the ball from its initial position to final position. So for that, first let us try to find out the coordinates of initial point as well as the final point of the ball. On observing, we can say that the initial point of the ball before it was kicked by some person is equal to 10, 5. Similarly, we can find the final point as 40, 45. Now we have 2 points where A is equal to 10, 5 and B is equal to 40, 45. It is enough for us to find the distance between these 2 points A and B to know the distance covered by this ball. So to find that, let us use the distance formula. What is distance formula? Distance formula is nothing but if P and Q are any 2 points with x1, y1 and x2, y2 as its coordinates, then we can obtain the distance between those 2 points as under root x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. So let us write what are x1, y1 and x2, y2. From this, we can write this is x1 for us, this is y1, x2, y2. Now, let us substitute these values in the distance formula. And that substituting, we can find distance covered by the ball is equal to under root 40 minus 10 whole square plus 45 minus 5 whole square. So 40 minus 10 gives us 30, 30 whole square gives us 900 and 45 minus 5 gives us 40, and squaring 40 we will get 1600. And adding 900 and 1600 we will get 2500 under root. By taking the square root of 2500, we will get the distance covered by the ball as 50 square yards. the distance covered by the ball as 50 yards. Until now, we learned how to find the distance between 2 points. Let us focus on some applications of distance formula. For that, let us consider the section formula. This is a coordinate axis given for us. On this coordinate axis, PQ is the line with P and Q are its endpoints, and the coordinates of P is equal to x1, y1, and the coordinates of Q is given by x2, y2, and R is the point with the coordinates x comma y, and this R is dividing this PQ line segment PQ in the ratio m is to n, and the two internally. Then how do we find the coordinates of R? Let us derive the section formula when a point R with coordinates x comma y divides a line segment with x1, y1 and x2, y2 as its coordinates internally with a ratio m is to n. For that, let us draw perpendiculars from P, Q as well as R. After that, draw parallel lines parallel to x-axis PS and RT, again parallel to OX. We know that triangle PRS or PSR is similar to triangle RTQ. So these two are similar triangles. Thereby we can apply the similar triangles property and we can write PR by QR. PR by QR is equal to PS divided by RT, and that is equal to RS by QT. Now what is PR? What are QR, PS, RT, RS and QT? From this diagram, we can say that PR is equal to M and QR is equal to N. So let us substitute all the values here. So PR by QR is equal to M by N. Also PS can be obtained. This is from here to here it is X, and from here to here it is X1. So we want PS. So PS is obtained by subtracting x1 from x. Therefore we can write PS as x minus x1 here. Similarly we can write RT from O to M. The distance is nothing but x2, and from O to R the distance is x. We want RT. So RT can be obtained by subtracting OR from OM. Thereby we can write x2 minus x. Similarly we can write RS as y minus y1 and QT as y2 minus y1. And QT is equal to y2 minus y. Now on equating these, we can get the point R as mx2 plus nx1 by m plus n and my2 plus ny1 by m plus n. So this R is nothing but the point which is dividing this line segment PQ internally in the ratio m is to n. What happens if R divides this PQ externally? Then how do we find the coordinates of R when it divides the line segment externally? For that, once again let us consider the coordinate axis and the line segment AB. This time P is the point which is dividing this line segment AB externally. So the coordinates of A can be written as x1, y1, and let us take the coordinates of B as x2, y2. Since P is dividing AB externally, we can write this AP is to BP in the ratio m is to n. Again, let us draw perpendiculars from A to x-axis, B to x-axis, and again P to x-axis. Also, draw parallel lines parallel to x-axis AH, BK parallel to x-axis. Again, on observing this, we can say that triangle PH is similar to triangle PBK. Let us consider once again the similar property of similar triangles, and using the property of similar triangles we can write AP by BP is equal to AH by BK, that is equal to PH by PK. What are AP, BP, AH, BK, PH and PK? AP by BP can be written as once again M by N, because P is dividing the line segment AB in the ratio M is to N. Again from this diagram we can write AH as x minus x1 and BK as x minus x2. Similarly, PH can be written as y minus y1 and PK can be written as y minus y2. Again, on simplifying this, we can write the point P, which is dividing the line segment AB externally in the ratio M is to N, as mx2 minus nx1 by m minus n and my2 minus ny1 by m minus n. This is the formula which can be used to find the coordinates of a point when the point divides the line segment externally in the ratio m is to n. See one example. Find the coordinates of the point which divides internally and externally the line joining A minus 1 comma 2 and B 4 comma minus 5 in the ratio 2 is to 3. We are given 2 points, A is equal to minus 1 comma 2 and B is equal to 4 comma 5. And the ratio m is to n is given as 2 is to 3. Therefore, we can use internal section formula as well as external section formula to find the coordinates of the point which is dividing the line segment AB internally as well as externally. So first, let us consider internal division. Then we need to take the formula P of xy is equal to mx2 plus nx1 by m plus n and my2 plus ny1 by m plus n. So we have x1 is equal to minus 1 and y1 is equal to 2, x2 is equal to 4 and y2 is equal to 5, m is equal to 2 and n is equal to 3. On substituting all these values in this formula, we can write P of xy is equal to 2 of 4 plus 3 into minus 1 by 2 plus 3 and 2 which is nothing but m and y2 value is minus 5 plus n value is 3 and y1 is 2. So 2 into minus 5 plus 3 into 2 by 2 plus 3. On simplifying this, we can write P of xy, the point Pxy which divides the line segment AB internally as 1 comma minus 4 by 5. Now let us see what are the coordinates of the point P when it divides the line segment externally. For that, once again let us consider A minus 1 comma 2, B 4 comma minus 5 and the ratio as 2 is to 3. So here we have A value x1 is equal to minus 1, y1 is equal to 2, x2 is equal to 4, y2 is equal to minus 5, m is equal to 2, n is equal to 3. In case of external division, we need to use the formula P of xy is equal to mx2 minus nx1 by m minus n, my2 minus ny1 by m minus n. On substituting all the values in this formula, we can write P of xy is equal to 2 into 4 minus 3 into minus 1 divided by 2 minus 3. 2 into minus 5 minus 3 into 2 by 2 minus 3. On further simplification, we can write P of xy as minus 11 comma 16. Thereby, we can say that the coordinates of the required point are 1 comma minus 4 by 5 when the point divides the given line segment internally and minus 11 comma 16 are the coordinates of the point when the point divides the line segment externally. Until now, we have gone through internal section formula as well as external section formula. What happens if M is equal to N? That is, if a point divides a line segment in the equal ratio, then that point is known as midpoint of the line segment. So we can write the midpoint of a given line segment with the coordinate x1, y1 and x2, y2 as x1 plus x2 by 2 and y1 plus y2 by 2. So to find the midpoint of a given line segment, we can use the formula x1 plus x2 by 2 and y1 plus y2 by 2. Let us try to find out the area of the triangle now. This is the coordinate axis given to us, and this is the area. This is the triangle with ABC as its vertices. A is equal to x1, y1 and B is given as x2, y2 and C x3, y3. To find the area of this triangle, we need to draw the perpendiculars from A, B as well as C to x-axis like this. Now, we can find trapeziums. ABML is a trapezium for us. Similarly, we can find ALNC is another trapezium along with MBNC, another trapezium. To find the area of the triangle ABC, it is enough for us to subtract the area of trapezium BMNC from the sum of area of trapezium ABML and area of trapezium ALNC. Let us see what are the areas of the trapeziums ABML as well as ALNC. For that, let us find out the area of ABML as well as area of the trapezium ALNC and area of BMNC. So, area of ABML can be written as half into BM plus AL. So, what are BM and AL? These are nothing but parallel sides. ML is the height of the trapezium. So, half BM plus AL multiplied with ML. Similarly, we can write the area of trapezium ALNC as half of AL plus CN multiplied with LN, and we need to subtract the area of trapezium BMNC from the sum of these two. That is half BM plus CN of MN. On substituting the values of BM, AL, ML and so on, we can write the area of trapezium ABML as half y2 plus y1 of x1 minus x2 plus half y1 plus y3 multiplied with x3 minus x1 minus half y2 plus y3 multiplied with x3 minus x2. On simplifying this, we can write half of x1 y2 plus x1 y1 minus x2 y2 minus x2 y1 plus x2 y3 plus x2 y2 minus x2 y2 minus x3 y2 minus x1 y3 minus x1 y1 plus x3 y1 plus x3 y3. On further simplification, we can find here minus x3 y3, and so we can cancel plus x1 y1 with minus x1 y1. Similarly, x2 plus x2 y2 minus x2 y2 plus x3 y3 with minus x3 y3. Then we are left with half of x1 y2 plus x2 y3 plus x3 y1 minus x2 y1 minus x3 y2 minus x1 y3. This is the formula to find the area of triangle when three vertices of the triangle are given to us. Let us try to remember this formula in a more technical way. For that, let us write the coordinates of x coordinates as well as y coordinates. x1, x2, x3. So let us start with x1 and let us end up with x1. Again, Below that, y1, y2, y3. Since we are starting with y1, let us end up with y1 only. Now follow the arrow marks. x1, y2, then x plus x2, y3, x3, y1. This time we are multiplying in y1 with x2. So we need to multiply the product with minus. Thereby we can write minus x2, y1, minus x3, y3, minus x3, y2 and minus x1, y3. So this is how we can remember the area of triangle as A is equal to half of the determinant, or you can say the modulus of x1, x2, x3, x1, y1, y2, y3, y1. Or if you want to start with x2, then we can write the area of triangle A is equal to half of x2, x3, x1, again end up with x2, y2, y3, y1. Since you are starting with y2, end up with y2. Then also we will get the same formula. This is how we can find the area of triangle. So with this, I conclude this session here only. So let us discuss in detail regarding how to find the area of quadrilaterals and what are the applications of distance formula in the next session.